welcome to the Lisa Saunders Show. I'm Lisa Saunders, and I'm really excited today because I am finally going to learn a topic that I've always heard about. Everybody talks about it. It's in movies. People joke about it. But it seems to be very important to relaxation, and if you don't know what it is either, you'll find out today. And we are going to talk about yoga and why it helps you relax. And I have two important guests to help us go learn this, because Dr. Joanne Moore was recently widowed, right?
5 years.
5 years, and you learned that you are unable to sleep because when you're widowed, right?
Sleep is a problem for a lot of us.
Okay, I know, I lost my daughter. I could not sleep. So we are going to learn today about sleep from a yoga instructor, Rachel Baer. Welcome.
Thank you.
I can't wait for you to teach us what to do so we can relax. Like I said, I never knew what you were supposed to do with yoga, except maybe smell incense and sit on the floor. But I don't want to do that if I'm trying to fall asleep.
No, that wouldn't work if you're trying to fall asleep.
So, Joanne, tell me, you just started a magazine for widows.
Yes, it's a new magazine called Pathfinder, a companion guide for the widower's journey. It's available online right now. You know, it's sort of a sequel to the Bride magazine.
Ah.
If you remember when we were getting married, they told us step by step, month by month, what we needed to do to prepare for the wedding. Well, you know, when that marriage comes to an end, there's very little available to tell us what to do and how to manage it. Mm-hmm. And so this magazine explores strategies for living a joyful and meaningful life after this loss. It tells stories about people who have gone on to live successfully, not only in today, but in historical terms as well. And we tap experts in all sorts of fields because we have to make decisions about everything.
Right. Suddenly you have to learn when to have the roof checked or your gutters checked. Taxes, never mind that, with your inheritance. Your magazine, that goes over all of that, right?
Goes over financial matters, spiritual, returning to work, how to resume your friendships again, how to maybe start dating if you think that that's something that you'd like to do. There's poetry and book reviews, photography. It's just a wonderful way for us to learn from each other how to manage this next stage of life.
Now, do you think some of this was born not only from you becoming a widow, but also because you're a physical therapist? You're very concerned about health, because I know a lot of your magazine is about health, and that's why we're covering insomnia.
Exactly.
After loss. What is insomnia? How do you define it?
Insomnia is not getting enough sleep.
Just simple as that.
It's as simple as that. And the need will vary between people. Some people need more sleep than others. But just not being able to get to sleep and get a good solid night's sleep.
Now, why is sleep so important? I mean, I think it's important just because I'm in a bad mood if I don't get enough sleep. But are there other health reasons aside from being in a bad mood that you should take it seriously if you can't sleep?
Well, it is very important for mental health and physical health.
Do you think, I mean, I've heard it said that you gain weight easier if you're not sleeping. Is that true? Because you're awake eating more, or because it's something with your metabolism?
Well, actually, there is a hormone that comes out during sleep that allows you to go 10 hours without being hungry, and then that hormone starts to come back again in the morning when you wake up. But if you go without, you never get that hormone acting in, so you do feel hungrier.
Oh, so there really is
a physiological reason for it. In addition, you know, when you're tired, you go for that sugary snack to help you get through that next hour.
Right.
And while it works temporarily, it leads to being overweight, which makes you more tired. So it's very counterproductive.
Now, I went online to see what your magazine looked like. Now, I do write for your magazine, so I knew the general articles that you had. But I finally clicked on the picture of you before and after. You've lost a lot of weight.
I did. I've lost 50 pounds.
It was shocking. It was really exciting to see the before and now you after. And did you lose this weight after your husband passed away?
Yes, I did.
Did you gain the weight because you were taking care of him?
I had been a caregiver for a long time. For 15 years, I took care of my mother-in-law and had a lot of insomnia because she didn't sleep through the night. And then my husband was ill for a number of years as well. And you know, one cookie a day kind of adds up when you comfort eat. So.
Okay, so when did you start yoga? Before we get into it, or do you have other techniques that you use to help you sleep?
The techniques that I use to help me sleep do include the breathing and relaxation techniques that I probably started in the mid-1970s.
So you've been doing, and that's called yoga? Is that what yoga is? Like I said, all I know is incense and you sitting in this lotus position. What else is yoga?
Well, yoga means union, union of the mind, body, and the spirit. And the most important part of yoga actually is the breath work. You can call it yoga if you're only doing the breathing without doing any of the poses.
So if I just breathe in and out and I do it in a way that you teach me, I can tell somebody I did yoga?
Yes, you can, because it's focusing, and the kind of three-part breathing that we're going to learn today, it really helps to clear your mind. And because you're so focused on your breathing, all of that chatter that goes on in your head when you're trying to get to sleep or focus on anything, you can't focus on that because you're focusing on your breathing. So it brings you right to the present moment, that you are only in this present moment, and that right now that is all that matters.
That's great, because you know, I mean, honestly, the way I get to sleep is I turn on Turner Classics. I can't sleep unless I have a black and white movie on with no commercials. That's how I sleep. But I'm sure it would be better for me to breathe, right?
Probably would be better without the distraction of the lights flickering on and off.
Because I heard that's bad for you. That can lead to distracted sleep. Because I didn't sleep either for years when I was taking care of my daughter, because she didn't sleep. And I've really never gotten into a good sleeping pattern. Do you sleep through the night, or what do you use? If you can't sleep through the night, what do you do?
There are a few strategies that I've learned. I think Joe died at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 10 o'clock that night I was in the bed, and I looked at his place empty and was horrified. I immediately went over and lay on his side of the bed.
Really?
And I've been there ever since, and I have found that sleeping on his side of the bed makes me not have to look at that empty place.
So that's one of your techniques that you would tell somebody?
That's one of my techniques. Another technique I learned from my social worker at the Brigham and Women's. I had a repetitive memory going through my mind, and I just couldn't stop it. She said, write it down, because that repetitive thought is your brain trying to remember that incident. So just write it down and you won't have to remember it. And that really worked. So now if I have a memory that's keeping me awake, something that I feel guilty about or angry about or sad about, I find that if I write it, it goes away.
That's interesting, because I know sometimes if I'm bothered by something, I'm going over and over and over it, and I don't know why I'm doing that, because I'm trying to figure it out. But I just find that writing is healing in general.
Really is.
So maybe if I'm having a tormenting thought, that's something to do, is writing. And then that would also come in with yoga, right? I mean, do you also, okay, after you write it, would you also, if you're having trouble falling asleep,
the breathing techniques I do whenever I'm under any kind of stress.
Now, you were willing to do a demonstration today, right?
That's right.
Okay. Go ahead. Show us, how would you, like, what happened? Would you go to her? Would you call her and say, I need to learn how to do some yoga?
Yeah,
or,
Rachel is a teacher.
Yeah, you can call me. I do some local classes, or I can do individual sessions. Yeah.
Okay, do you have videos of yourself doing it? Like
I have a chair yoga DVD available called Functional Chair Yoga, and that does some breathing exercises at the very beginning.
Okay.
Similar to what we'll be doing tonight, and also at the very end there'll be breathing and then a short meditation at the very end of it, yes.
Okay, well, go ahead and give us a demonstration, because people in the audience can be sitting there watching this, and instead of getting to that extra cookie, they can sit and learn. I'll listen. I don't feel like doing it because I'm wearing a skirt.
No, that's fine.
I don't know if it's okay to have a skirt on.
So I'm opposite Joanne right now, and when I teach my classes, I mirror people. So I have not got my lefts and rights mixed up. I am doing it intentionally that way, just so it's easier for the people opposite me to follow. So we're going to just sit really nice and tall in our seats. Feet are hip width apart, and we're going to lengthen up through the spine. reaching the hands down towards the floor, and just pressing the feet into the floor, draw the belly in, and then reach the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Reach a little further. So we're really going to tense every muscle in the body and do a few tense and release exercises.
So am I being tense right now?
Yeah, being tense. So nice, sit up tall, but trying not to lean on the back here. Okay. So we're going to gently lift our shoulders up, roll them back and relax them down. Maybe you feel those shoulder blades sliding in towards each other. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, and then just relax. Feel everything relax. Then you realize how much hard work it is to sit tall. So we're going to do it again. Press the feet into the floor, draw the belly in, reach tall, reach with the fingers. So every muscle in the body is engaged. Draw that belly in. Feel how much work it is, and notice our posture. It's pretty good. So 3, 2, 1, relax.
Now, what is that doing for me?
It's making you more aware of your body and how you feel, and giving you that opportunity to let go of tension. So as we move through some of the other exercises, it's more focused on the upper back and shoulders, helping to get rid of tension up here, which is where we hold a lot of it. That can lead to tension here. That can also lead to headaches. And also, if your shoulders are really tense, it can actually lead to wrist pain too. So,
as a writer,
and
people think, how dangerous can that be? But when I write a lot, my back's hurting me. I feel tense. So this is something, when I'm taking a break from my computer, I can just, I try to sit up, because that does help my back if I sit upright. But you're telling me this is going to also relax me, what we just did.
Yes, definitely. The tense and release. So you can do this sitting. Obviously, for tonight, we're doing it sitting. You can do it lying down on a yoga mat. You can do it in your bed. If you don't want to get up in the night and do anything, you can, I have no problem.
In your bed? Like I would just lay there?
Yeah, you can. I mean, I don't.
Just tense
I have no problem falling asleep, but sometimes if I wake in the night,
that's my problem.
Then I have problems getting back to sleep.
Too.
So then I would use some of these techniques.
You would tense and release, just laying in your bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tense and release. Yeah. So it works fine, and then we can do these gentle shoulder rolls. So just gently lifting the arms. And this is helping to get that mobility in the shoulders.
I don't know if I'm doing it right.
Tension.
I don't really know.
You're doing it right. Yeah, you can't really do it wrong. And then we reverse that movement. So this is how I start all of my chair yoga classes. And chair yoga classes are not just for seniors, they're for anybody recovering from illness, or younger people too, who are recovering from surgery. I've had people coming into my class, and even for myself, I was sick earlier this year, and chair yoga saved me, I think.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. Got my strength back, really kept me
going. Does it help
going.
to hold your stomach in?
Absolutely, yeah. So when we're sitting up
so
nice
there are some
and tall,
advantages to this.
Actually, it's harder work than you would think. We're going to move on just a little. So I'm going to shuffle a little bit further forward in the chair. So you can do this lying down. If you're lying down on the bed, you would do the same thing. So we're just going to draw our left knee into the chest.
Well, in a skirt, I'm not going to, so I'll watch
fine.
you.
That's probably good.
I don't want to shock the audience.
And this is a nice stretch. So we're using our core here, using the upper body a little bit too. And we're stretching out and stretching the lower back a little bit too to help release tension there. And we'll do the same on the other side, flexing the foot. So normally you could have sneakers on, you could have bare feet, and you can do this pretty much anywhere.
I mean, it doesn't look like you're wearing anything special, either of you. No. I thought you had to have some kooky outfit.
Well, you can wear those too. But no, for regular yoga is really for everybody and anybody.
It seems like it.
Yeah, I teach yoga. My youngest has been 3 years old, and my oldest is 93 years old. So obviously they're not going to do the same things. So yoga really is for everyone.
Now, the audience is going to be dying to know, where are you from? Because you don't sound like me.
No, I'm from Kent and the southeast coast of England.
Oh, okay.
And I've lived here for nearly 11 years.
And do you understand us as well as we understand you?
Pretty much. Although it's surprising, the same language, there are some differences. So,
I know. Yeah. Like I just finally found out from meeting a British person what tosser means. Because I watch a lot of British murder mysteries. Because I think they really know how to kill people there.
Yes.
You know? And so I watch a lot of those shows, and sometimes I have no idea what they're talking about. And sometimes I have to put on the subtitles because I can't understand what they're saying.
That's true.
But your accent, I hear you absolutely clearly and perfectly.
Thank
Do you think it's because you've lived here 11 years, or because your accent isn't as strong, or I don't know how to say it, but
I think that actually my 2 boys lost their accents soon after we moved here, and I've kept mine. I think it's just more ingrained, and they mix with friends of the same age more than I do. So moving on to our breathing. So we're going to just place our left hand on our belly. You don't have to do it. And our right hand just on the chest. So we're going to get that nice long spine and reach the crown of the head towards the ceiling, still pressing the feet into the floor. So you can close your eyes to do this if you want to, but you don't have to, obviously, for the purposes right now. But if you're doing this at home, if you want to close your eyes, you can. We're going to breathe in deeply through the nose, and most people only breathe into the upper part of the lungs. We call it chest breathing. So you probably just feel the chest rising. We're going to try and breathe into the very bottom of the lungs, as if you're trying to breathe into the belly. So trying to feel as you breathe in that the left hand rising with the belly. Now we hold that breath there and try and breathe in a little deeper, and we get to the middle part of the middle lobe of the lung. And then we try and breathe in a little more, trying to get to the upper part of the lung, almost as if we're breathing up into our collarbones. That's a good way to describe it. And then on the exhale, we start from the top all the way back down. When you get to the belly, really draw that belly in. If you can imagine the back of a spoon pressing into your belly, this will push out any air left in there. So it's hard to learn at first because you automatically want to breathe just to here. But to try and breathe all the way down, really it gets more oxygen into the body, which is healthy for all our organs. It's super effective for relaxation. And so you would continue doing this for several breaths, 10, 15 breaths, however you felt comfortable with. And it feels odd when you first start it. It took me a while to actually get the hang of it. And when you first start, it's hard to get that breath deep enough. So just practice. It's not so hard to do. So carrying on with our nice deep breathing. And it helps to just clear the mind, because you're thinking about the breath going all the way down and then working up and back down. Your mind stays nice and clear.
So that's where the mind clearing comes from, because you're busy concentrating on your breath and how you're holding your body. And sometimes it's just that mental break that you need. Now, as a physical therapist, you must approve of all this, obviously, because you do it, because you're saying the oxygen's really helping you.
It does help with keeping your mind focused on the present moment, and it does oxygenate you. And it also stimulates the vagal nerve, which is along the aorta, which relaxes your whole nervous system.
And this is stuff you know from being a health professional.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what next?
Well, I was going to say it's not just, obviously sleep is the reason we're doing this today, because it really does help you to relax and to get into that semi-sleep state, and helps you relax so you then can just drift off. So stick with it if you try this, but it can be used for everyday situations too. Last week I was at the dentist, which is one of my least favorite places to go, for a crown prep. Not the nicest experience, but it was fine. I was determined I was going to stay relaxed, and I focused on my breathing, my 3-part breath that we've just gone through.
While he's drilling or whatever?
While he's sticking this huge needle into my mouth, 2 of them actually, and he said to me, "Oh, wow, good breathing. You're actually really relaxed. I can feel you almost sinking into the chair," which of course usually...
But you weren't doing the tensing and all that,
No, I wasn't doing the tensing. I was just doing the breathing.
Okay.
Just the 3-part breath and focusing on the breathing, and it helped to block out whatever else was going on. Even though it was inches from my head.
Right.
And he said, "Wow, really good breathing. Do you do yoga?" I said, "Yes, I do, actually."
Okay.
So he said, "Well, it obviously works." So you can use it if you're stuck in traffic, same breath. Obviously, don't close your eyes. And any other stressful situation. But sleep, it is, just the whole relaxation. And you can go into a whole nother realm of using yoga for sleep too. There's a practice called yoga nidra, which is called yogic sleep, where you would take these relaxation techniques to a whole different level. It would be, we've just done a few minutes, we could take it to, a whole hour class, and the whole thing is relaxation, breathing, tensing and releasing each part of your body bit by bit. So you would start, you can start with your head, you can start with your feet, where you tense everything, then relax, tense and relax, and slowly work your way all up the body. You can be supported by cushions, whatever makes you feel comfortable. So that is really awesome.
Well, I thought it was interesting that it's a good idea that you do this on your website. You give people ideas for parties. You know, maybe instead of meeting the girls for happy hour, they call you up.
We could have yoga, yes.
Yoga, because you'd come to people's houses, right?
That's right. I do go to people's houses,
Okay.
and then you can do your own happy hour after I've left. So, yeah.
After you're all relaxed, you don't even need to be happy,
Yes,
I guess, because you're so relaxed.
Yes.
So this is something, as a physical therapist, do you also is this something you also suggest to people
I refer patients to Rachel, absolutely, and I think it's really an important adjunct to lots of healthcare situations.
Yes, yeah, I've worked with a couple of people recently, and what they want to work on is the breathing, because it makes so much difference. So not those, people imagine yoga as being those really hard postures where you twist into a pretzel, and yes, it can be that. There's a lot of those poses I can't do.
What do you do?
That's to just stretch different parts of the body, you know, and
so
just stretch and strengthen.
Stretching.
But some crazy poses, which are great, but they're definitely not for everyone. Whereas, you know, the breathing is, everyone breathes. We just need to learn to do it in a healthier way.
Now, Joanne, how are people going to get information from your magazine, like what we just covered, yoga? You're going to have an article on yoga?
Our September issue has an article on insomnia.
Okay.
And we'll certainly in the future have articles on yoga.
Okay.
But
Great.
the September issue will have the insomnia. There's so much biology. The reward for doing this kind of yoga is changes in your brain. During the day, the body builds up two chemicals, adenosine and, you know the one, everybody knows this one, melatonin. As those levels start to increase during the day, it makes us feel drowsy by evening. When we fall asleep, researchers at University of Rochester have found that our brain cells shrink a little bit, allowing more space between the cells so that it's easier for the house cleaning to pull out the metabolites of metabolism and toxins from the brain.
Oh, really? This happens during sleep?
During sleep, all that happens, during deep sleep. And so when in the morning you wake up feeling refreshed. So the reward for this is getting into deep sleep so that your body can do its house cleaning, so that in the morning you can wake up refreshed. Also during sleep, you cement the memories of today. You develop your short-term memories during sleep, during the first 2 cycles of sleep. Then during the last 2 cycles of the night, you start to develop creativity. So that's why you'll have crazier dreams in the morning.
Really?
That's why.
In the beginning, you define reality. In the second half of the night, you start to explore strategies to deal with that reality, and your creativity starts to kick in. So if you miss out on either form of sleep, you have problems with memory, and you have problems finding creative solutions to your problems. And widows have a lot of decisions to make. They can't not be thinking clearly, and they can't not be remembering things.
And this is what your magazine is geared to help them do.
This whole magazine is dedicated to helping people find strategies to a joyful and meaningful life, to helping people find their path. There's no one right way for everybody, and so we're going to talk about lots of ways to be healthy, to find sleep, to find good health, physical, emotional, and spiritual. All these are covered in this magazine.
Like I was excited to do one on pets, you know, for people that might want an animal, because that can make a big difference.
Pet therapy will come up in future issues, and you've done an article on Norman Rockwell, too, an historical figure.
In July.
It's in the current issue now.
Yeah, so how do people subscribe to your magazine? How can they get it?
Well, this first issue is free, and it's online.
Okay, so people need to, will it always stay free, this July issue? Like, will those articles always be available free?
Yes, these articles will always be available for free, and they can log on to widowedpathfinder.com. And it'll come up and they'll see your articles and my articles.
Yeah, they're great. I was really impressed. It's great.
Thank you. It's
and you
a
get
lot
to
of
see
fun.
that picture of her before she lost
I know.
50 pounds. I had never seen a picture of you. I mean, that
I'm not very proud of it, but
I mean, you still looked beautiful and everything, but you've given me hope,
the
you know?
thing
How did you lose all that
is,
weight?
the whole purpose of this magazine is to inspire each other from true and honest stories. There's people who didn't do well after, and we're going to learn from their mistakes. And they have learned from their mistakes and moved on. And there are people who have done well, and we're going to learn their strategies. You know, I started from a rough spot. And I've worked really hard.
But you already owned a business,
move forward.
so you didn't have to figure out a new career.
Exactly.
But so you weren't having to figure that out. What was the hard part for you? Because I think you said you didn't find very many resources for widows.
There were very few resources, but in many ways I was very blessed with a large family who was very supportive. And I did have a career that I love as a physical therapist. And one thing that I've learned from being a physical therapist for 40 years and having a front row seat for watching people deal with tremendous loss, not death necessarily, but loss of all their physical function, or dealing with a child with multiple handicaps, and how do different people deal with loss? Loss is loss. And I've learned that being open to new ideas is a hallmark of a healthy person, and that they hadn't have the opportunity to learn.
That's what I love about your magazine.
How to do better.
The variety of articles that opens you up to new ideas, because you just can't stay stuck.
No.
You really, your life has changed whether you want it to or not.
Exactly.
And you have to find a new path. And your magazine is great because that's why you're calling it Pathfinder.
Exactly.
Because you're helping people figure out a new path
Right.
to take. Like maybe, you know, I just lost my dog, so I can't walk right now until we get another one. Maybe I should be trying yoga. Just, you know,
something different.
Something different, just to
Right.
open my mind to something new. So that's what I like about your magazine. And I love some of the assignments you've given me. Like I said, I love dead people, so I love talking about
So do we.
I love talking about, you know, Martha Washington wouldn't sleep in her bed. You know, I can't wait for that
Right.
article to come out. I had in the same issue, I believe, we're going to have one widow who's alive, and she decided to sleep in her bed immediately. Her husband died in that bed, and she thought, I have to sleep there tonight.
right.
And she did, whereas Martha Washington basically just closed that bedroom and slept in the attic the rest of her life. So I think your magazine is going to help us to get out of the attic,
Right.
you know, when we feel a loss. Really, there's some articles that I found, some of them that, even though I'm not a widow, I found very helpful. So I just think, I have a lot of single people actually who told me, oh, well, can I read it?
Absolutely.
And I said, of course you can read it.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of divorced people want to read it. And some of the single people that I know, men and women, just want some comfort. And they can't wait for it to be in print, because right now it's online. Now we only have about 1.5 minutes, Joanne. So I just want you to tell me, what should we know? What should widow and widowers know?
Widows and widowers should know that this isn't new. No marriage ends well. And there are so many strategies for living a positive life afterwards. Yoga is one of them. It helps us get in touch with our authentic self and to be present in this moment. And I think to appreciate what we do have, because we have this moment, and that we are all in this together, and that we can learn from each other and we can teach each other. And this magazine, this show, is a forum and a way for us to exchange those ideas and to inspire each other. And so I thank you very much for this opportunity to be here.
Well, I'm glad, because I learned something completely new. I really never knew what yoga was. And because it sounded like exercise, I didn't care to know. But now I'm really interested. You've gotten me intrigued. Because sometimes in the middle of the night, there's nothing good to watch to help me fall back to sleep. So now I will try the breathing, and I'll let you know how it goes.
Great.
But no, so I hope you come back.
Thank
and
you.
we'll talk
I'd love
about
to.
different issues that can
Absolutely.
help people.
Great.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
very
for
much.
coming.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for watching this show. I hope you did some of those exercises, and please join me next week on the Lisa Saunders Show.